Hello and welcome to the first ever Disney Darlings podcast. I'm Gracie.
And I'm Nicole.
And Nicole and I are two Disney fans, and we decided that we were going to create a podcast together where we just talk about Disney. This is an unofficial Disney podcast. She and I have absolutely nothing at all to do with the company. We don't represent Disney in any way, shape, or form. We're just critics and fans. So that should be qualified as fair use. Now, our first episode is going to be about Beauty and the Beast. We're doing the animated 1991 version, which I absolutely adore, and Nicole does not.
Understatement. Yeah.
So I'm sure mine is just a nostalgia factor, but there will be stuff we actually agree on, but I think this is going to be a very fun episode. And there also might be some spoilers for the live action remake. So if you're listening and you have not watched the Hermione Granger version, go ahead and switch off now till you have. Now, Beauty and the Beast was released on November 22nd, 1991, with an estimated budget of $22 million. It ended up making $145.8 million domestically. It was the highest grossing Disney film of that year, the highest grossing animated film. Terminator 2 was the top spot, and Robin Hood Men in Tights was second place. So those are the two movies that beat out Beauty and the Beast for the highest grossing film of 1991.
I totally get Robin Hood Men in Tights, though.
That's a classic.
Yes.
Now, the voice actors were Paige O'Hara, who played Belle, and she also played Belle on the Broadway stage. Then we had Robbie Benson as Beast, Angela Lansbury as Mrs. Potts, who was also known for the TV show Murder, She Wrote. Jerry Orbach played Lumiere, which I did not know he was also the dad from Dirty Dancing. He was Baby's dad.
Oh.
Did you know that?
Yeah. I think I read that years ago, and then I totally forgot until now.
I didn't know that. And I was like, are you serious? Because now that I know this, I won't be able to watch that film without seeing his face. David Ogden Stiers played Cogsworth, and he's also known for his voice work as Jumba from Lilo and Stitch. And he was also in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, I think is the Archdeacon, but don't hold me to it.
Oh.
Yeah. Music and lyrics were by Howard Ashman, who also worked on The Little Mermaid, and Alan Menken, who is known for Tangled and Hunchback of Notre Dame, most notably.
Yes.
It was written by Brenda Chapman, who wrote on Brave, The Lion King, and Hunchback of Notre Dame. The screenplay was by Linda Wolverton, who was also in the writing team for the Lion King franchise, Maleficent, the new Beauty and the Beast, and Alice in Wonderland, the remake with Johnny Depp. Ew. If you would like, Nicole, to give us the basic plot.
Sure. So the Beauty and the Beast the summary is, having lived a life in selfishness, a young prince is cursed by a mysterious enchantress into having the appearance of a monstrous beast. His only hope is to learn to love a young woman and earn her love in return in order to redeem himself. Years later, his chance shows itself when a young maiden named Belle offers to take her ill father's place as his prisoner. With help from the castle's enchanted staff, Belle learns to appreciate her captor and immediately falls in love with him. Back in the village, however, an unscrupulous hunter has his own plans for Belle.
Basically it. So, Nicole, do tell, what's the worst thing about this movie for you?
Oh my.
Just like, where do I start?
Yeah, where do I start? Well, I think there's a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to Belle, because Belle says that she doesn't like Gaston because he's violent. He's pretty abusive, and he sees her as an object. Yet the Beast is abusive and violent, and at first sees Belle as annoying and in his way, and then he realizes if she falls for him like he's doing with her, the spell can be broken. So they all muster together to get themselves out of the curse, technically using her until they just happen to fall in love with each other, and then it just goes, oh, I didn't mean to, I love you. No, that's just bothersome. That just bothers me. See, like, if the Beast was a regular human, there would be no way he would be accepted with open arms as a Disney prince or a hero or even an anti-hero. He'd be a villain. As Gaston is. They're pretty much the same thing.
That is a fair assessment. I think one of the things that annoyed me the most about the remake is the fact that in the remake, Gaston, they dumped him down almost. Like, in the cartoon, Gaston is an ass, right? Like, he sees her as just a woman he's going to have children with, and that's pretty much it. Why is he going to get with her? Oh, because she's pretty. Whereas in the remake, it's different. Gaston is actually, kind of charming in a bumbling fool kind of way.
Mm.
And, like, it's not until the middle of the movie that you see his attitude do a complete 360. I will give you that. It doesn't make much sense. Like I said, I'm pretty sure my love of this movie is the songs and the nostalgia factor.
The songs are pretty good until when it gets to, like, something there, and then they just use that just to show that they're falling in love with each other, even though he, like, threw stuff at her and screamed at her, like, a few scenes before, and that was after she ran away.
Yeah,
she
ran away basically the first night that she was there.
Yeah.
Because he told her, don't go in the West Wing. And then she goes in the West Wing.
Ooh, smart.
And then she almost touches the enchanted rose. And he, like, freaks the fuck out. And she's like, I can't do it. I can't stay here anymore. And she hasn't even spent the night. And then she runs off and nearly gets killed by a pack of wolves, but he saves her.
Oh, yeah, and then she feels so sorry for him, and she, like, somehow helps him up and takes him back and puts him in bed where she's prisoner again. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't really
To be fair, he does let her go, so.
By the end.
Yeah, when her dad's sick, and he's like, well, yeah, I guess you better go see to your sick father.
Yeah.
See, I love this movie. I don't care that it makes no sense and that Beast is awful, which his real name is actually Adam. There's been debate over what his name is because he's always referred to as Beast, but in a video game of the movie, like one of those PC video games, like from way back, he's referred to as Prince Adam. So that is his name. And he is going to be featured again in a list of the worst and best Disney princes. And I promise you, he's not on the best list.
Oh, that's good.
I promise you. Yeah, we're going to have a ranking system. It's going to be fantastic. Now, all the songs were the last completed works for a movie by Academy Award winner Howard Ashman. Ashman died 8 months prior to the release of the film, and the film is dedicated to him. At the end of the final credits, you can read the dedication to our friend Howard, who gave a mermaid her voice and a beast his soul. We will forever be grateful. And it was actually his partner. He was gay, and it was his partner that accepted the Academy Award on his behalf.
Oh,
yeah,
that's good. That's sweet.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty interesting to me. Now, regardless of what you think of the movie, you have to admit it probably has some really good lines. Like, my favorite line of the entire movie is from Cogsworth, where he goes, flowers, chocolates, promises you don't intend to keep. Which
I share that whenever I see it on social media because it is hilarious. I like Cogworth and Lumiere. Other than that, I don't.
Yeah, that line was actually ad-libbed. It wasn't in the original script. So.
Well, it's good they added it in because that's a classic.
I'm glad they kept it. See, that's one of the ones that I missed when I was a kid. And then I was like, that is hilarious when you're adults.
Yeah, because it's kind of true.
The songs take up 25 minutes of the 81-minute film, and only 5 minutes were without any musical score at all. So there's music in the background nearly 100% of the time.
I don't really like when film does that. Maybe it's something else unconscious that I noticed and I just did not.
That might be it. I bet you are not a fan of Les Mis then. That is 100% musical. There is like 4 lines of dialogue. That's not song.
I watched it once and then I don't yeah. So maybe, I don't know.
You just might not be that type of person.
Yeah, too much music when there should be dialogue. I don't know.
Now, it does great as a Broadway play. I think one of the fallbacks of the original was the fact that there's this song in the Broadway play called Me by Gaston, and it is hilarious. Where, like, he's talking to Belle, like, right before he proposes to her, and he's talking to her about how, we'll extend the family tree. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
It was funny, though. Like, yeah. The Broadway play does a lot like the newer version, where they make Gaston like a bumbling idiot. But like an adorable bumbling idiot. He's not really abusive until midway through.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like a complete 180 of his character, which is weird, but that's how it works.
Yeah, he was... I would say he's one of the better-ish villains, as in he's realistic.
Yeah,
because there are people like him.
Yeah, and his motivation is he has a motivation that's very defined. It's basically, I want Belle no matter the cost. I mean, he's willing to put her dad in an insane asylum in order to force her hand. Like...
Yeah, what a nice guy.
He's fantastic. He's so great.
So you can see like I think the obvious, but maybe not obvious to other people, the slight obvious-ish differences between Gaston and the Beast, which is like the Beast lets her see her dad at the end, but he still lets her see him.
Right.
And that he lets her read. Ooh, okay. So that's like, those are the big differences I've noticed that kind of hook people in. But I think they're kind of small. I mean, not going to your sick dad, that's not small. But you can see, I mean, for at least the reading and the library aspect, I see it on Facebook memes all the time.
Well, yeah.
Like,
because
yeah.
I am an avid reader myself. I would probably be very excited if a man was like, hey, you see this big-ass 2-story room with books floor to ceiling? It's all yours. I would die.
Yeah, and then it's also like, there's one meme that has Gaston and on the left, and it says, like, something about, why would you read this? It has no pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other one is with the Beast, like, oh, can you read it again? And then always in the comment section, so like, oh, that's the difference. He, the Beast, even though he has anger issues, he lets her read. I'm like, okay, wow, he lets her read. Great step. I don't know.
From a
But that just
historical,
fits with people, and it's just it's a little weird. But
yeah, from a historical concept, it's actually kind of funny because like they use this in the last scene of the film. They actually use the same outline as the dance scene from Sleeping Beauty. So a lot of the background characters have medieval garb on, and I never understood why. I was like, I don't understand because the film is set in like mid to late 1700s, you know?
oh,
And
they did that with the Jungle Book and Robin Hood and all that stuff
Yeah,
because
they-
they're kind
They
of
recycled backgrounds to save money. But like, that's one of the things that got me because I didn't know what time period it was in. But from what I've read, it's basically like 1760s. And then I'm like, well, that's not good for Belle. She's probably gonna die in 30 years. It's based, it's based in France.
Oh, yeah.
What happens in 1789? Oh, I don't know, this little thing called the French Revolution. She's married to a nobleman. That's not gonna go well for her.
Oh, yeah.
She would have been better off with Gaston in that regard, anyway. Rupert Everett actually auditioned for the role of Gaston, but was told by the directors that he didn't sound arrogant enough. And so he remembered this when he voiced Prince Charming in Shrek 2.
Oh, I forgot all about Shrek 2. Oops.
I actually love that movie too. It's a really solid sequel. I don't like any of the Shrek movies after that one, but yeah, I thought that was funny. I was like, Rupert Everett would have made a great Gaston in hindsight because of how well he did as Prince Charming in Shrek 2. So.
Yeah, though he was told he had to be more, so.
Yeah, and he learned his lesson, and it ended up working great. This isn't actually the first time that Beauty and the Beast was attempted to be adapted. They tried in the 30s and in the 50s. But Walt Disney at the time, he could not figure out a way of making it suitable, and so it was just shelved. And then The Little Mermaid did so well, it became like the best commercially successful animated film at that time for Disney, that they're like, oh, well, let's get back into making Disney movies, because Disney animated films, because The Little Mermaid is kind of like the Disney Renaissance starter.
Yeah.
And this was the second film, and they did fantastically with it. I mean, it was the highest grossing Disney film of that year. It was also the first animated movie to be selected to be in the category for Best Picture.
Ooh.
Which Disney's Pixar's Up was nominated in 2010 as Best Picture as well. So the two animated films for Best Picture to be up for it, not animated Best Picture, but Best Picture, were Beauty and the Beast and Up, which Up should have won.
I didn't see Up. I just don't like Pixar.
That's fair.
I keep trying, and I keep watching Pixar movies that I haven't seen, and they just are only average to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like I
There are a lot
don't
of
try.
Disney Pixar movies that I am not a fan of. There are very few that I hold dear.
Yeah, they need to stop with Cars.
Oh God, yes.
Who cares?
I thought Cars 1 was boring.
Ugh.
It's like a 2-hour-long movie, and I'm sitting an hour through it, and I'm like, God, when is this movie over? And then it's like got 45 minutes left. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I don't even like Cars. And they did Planes. Really? Why are you gonna do Planes? I don't think that did well. I wonder why.
Oh, I don't know. Now, many of the scenes were storyboarded, but never animated. There's a scene where Gaston visits the asylum. There's also a scene where the Beast is seen dragging the carcass of an animal he killed. Both were considered too gruesome for the film, and the ideas were dropped. However, there is an animal skeleton that is seen, but just barely, since it's heavily in shadow in the corner of the west wing, leaving a subtle implication of just how far this transformation has affected him.
Yeah, I mean, he is a beast, so...
So it's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Now...
I mean, I'm sure, like, the other people, or not people, the enchanted objects can make a great steak, but, you know, if you need something quick.
I bet he really enjoyed those wolves that tried to attack Belle. I bet they were delicious.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he is a beast. Like, let's be real here. He wasn't living off of tofu. This is actually something that I took note of a few years back when I had rewatched it after a long time. In the prologue, it states that the rose will bloom until the prince is 21. Later on, in Be Our Guest, Lumiere sings, 10 years we've been resting. So if the castle had been enchanted for 10 years and the prince is now 21, then the prince was 11 years old at the time he encountered the enchantress. So, like, this is something they fixed in the remake.
Yeah, math problem.
Because
much?
I was like, so he was 11 and he saw this old lady begging outside of his door. He's 11. His prefrontal cortex is not completely put together yet. He's still a child. And he's like, of course I don't want an old gross lady coming to my birthday party. And then she curses him until he's 21. Like, so his entire puberty, his entire pubescent years, he spent as a beast. It's no wonder he's abusive.
Yeah, where is his family?
Right?
Like, maybe he killed them when he was a beast.
Ooh, maybe.
Because I don't, like...
Yeah, I don't understand that. Someone actually said, well, you know, the quote from the prologue actually says, until his 21st year. It never actually says birthday. Therefore, the curse may have been put on the prince as an adult and he was frozen in time for 21 years. This would also explain how Chip came to be, considering he is just a child when the curse breaks. An alternative idea is that Chip doesn't age while he is a cup.
Because cups don't age.
Exactly, but beasts do. Ha ha. See, beasts are living things.
Yeah.
A cup is not.
Yeah, that's probably it. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
At least to me.
Yeah. So we're going to go with he was 11 in the original movie. And Stranger Danger. That's what he did. He did the Stranger Danger thing and he got punished for it. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And he probably killed his parents. No.
Probably. Ha! We have solved it.
I mean, that would be, like, it would be too dark, but it would be really interesting.
It would be.
If there would
They should have included that in the remake.
But then, like, you really couldn't fall in love with him if he killed his parents. I mean, he's already abusive and violent. Like, whoa. She's trying.
Yeah. He's got a temper, boy, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I just have to add that, like, that whole, like, he's abusive, not just to her, but to the people that take care of him. Like,
oh my God, this reminds me.
And throws things and screams at her and anyone around him. He just has anger issues, and that's not, I don't think that's acceptable.
This reminds me of, oh God, what was it? It was something on cracked.com. I think it was a Cracked After Hours, where they're discussing Disney films. And someone was like, so how come all of the objects that are former servants, like, turned into their names? And then someone made the point of, what if those weren't their original names, but the names Beast gave them? Like, what if Mrs. Potts actually wasn't Mrs. Potts before she got turned into a teapot? You know? Because their names reflect what they get turned into. So maybe Beast was such an ass that he just decided to call them by the thing they turned into, and they forgot their original names after, 10 years.
Yeah.
I was like, that is a valid point.
Or it could be that, like, after a while, they didn't want to remember their old lives because they thought that it wouldn't ever happen because the beast is so horrible that they're not going to get out of it. So might as well change their names from what they were, type of thing. I know that could maybe be a thing, but
I thought that was a good theory.
Yeah.
That he was such an asshole, he just forgot their names and called them by what they turned into. I mean, Lumiere means light in French,
I like that people also think that he's an ass, and I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
They're making him into more of an ass, which is kind of
I know,
funny,
you're changing my opinion here. No, I'm just kidding. I actually still love this movie, even though the characters are horrible. Even Belle gets on my nerves because she's like, I want to, run away and have these great big adventures, and then she moves one town over and marries a royal dude, and like, as a peasant she has more freedom. Let's be real.
She doesn't even look that much of a peasant. Maybe like,
well, I mean, she's not really a peasant, she's just a commoner.
Lower middle class.
Yeah,
something like that. But like it just seems like this whole movie rides on the myth that an abusive man can be changed by a woman, and only by her, because he's a quote-unquote beast to be tamed.
Which, to be fair, this is, based on a fairy tale.
Yeah, that's pretty much, like, the woman has to save the guy and tame him to be respectable for society. It is not our duty to do that anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to do a shameless book plug, but like, if you want a better representation of Beauty and the Beast turning into something different, I would suggest A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, because that's a take on Beauty and the Beast, and it's really interesting. That's all I'm going to say. I think if you like this movie, you would like that book series.
Maybe. If they, well, I like it because the beast gets what he deserves.
Spoiler alert. Now, some casting stuff. Julie Andrews was originally intended for the role of Mrs. Potts before they decided on Angela Lansbury.
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, Julie Andrews did Mary Poppins. Angela Lansbury had done Bedknobs and Broomsticks for Disney, so both of them had history with the company in a movie that required singing. Julie Andrews, of course, eventually went back to Disney and did Princess Diaries, which is one of my favorite films.
Love it.
I actually love Princess Diaries 2 more than Princess Diaries 1. It might be because of Chris Pine.
I think they're pretty well fleshed out. Yeah,
both of them are really good movies for what they are. I mean, this was nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture. It lost to Silence of the Lambs. It was, however, the first full-length animated feature to win the Golden Globe Award for Best Picture, Musical or Comedy, and the first Best Picture Oscar nominated for Walt Disney Pictures since Mary Poppins, as well as third nominated for Walt Disney Company after Mary Poppins and Dead Poet Society, which I did not know that Disney Company owned the filmmakers who wrote Dead Poet Society,
I had no idea either.
Which is one of my all-time favorite movies ever. Like, oh god, I didn't know that Disney Company, which is probably like MGM or something, because Disney has acquired a lot of other film distribution and production companies.
Yeah, they own a lot.
Yeah, so like right now they own Lucasfilms, and they own Marvel. So, I mean,
And they own ABC, which I didn't know. But
yeah,
that's why they could get away with Once Upon a Time.
exactly. Because they own ABC. So ABC was like, hey, can we have the rights to do this, this, this? And Disney's like, yeah, we own you. Go for it. Like, it's ridiculously scary how much stuff Disney owns.
Yeah. I actually prefer the Once Upon a Time Beast, Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh god,
And Belle.
I love him. I've only watched up to Dark Swan, which I think is season 4, season 5. So I have to play catch up. Now, here's some other cool little casting tidbits. Donny Osmond and Patrick Swayze were both considered for the role of Gaston. The Patrick Swayze one makes me laugh because I cannot imagine it.
Yeah, he's too nice. And his voice is too soft.
Yeah, like, he's a romantic role kind of guy. Like,
Yeah.
most of his movies, except for, like, Roadhouse.
Okay, I was gonna say that Roadhouse was kind of romantic.
I mean, it is kind
With
of
a
romantic,
romantic
but it's
feel.
also tough. Like,
Yes.
it's like his toughest character. Donny Osmond, no.
No,
But
his voice sounds a little off.
Yeah, but he did do. Donny Osmond did go on later on to provide the singing voice for Shang and Mulan, but
What?
just the singing voice. You didn't know that?
No.
Well,
Oh,
now
that's
you
weird.
do. Yeah, so Donny Osmond did the singing voice for Shang and Mulan. Now you know. But he
Mhm.
didn't do any voice acting, which I think was for the better. He is a good singer. I don't want him to act with his voice. At least he's not Scott Baio.
Ooh, shade.
I'm not a fan of Chachi.
Me either.
The role of Cogsworth was actually written specifically for John Cleese. I would have loved that.
From
John
what I
Cleese
remember.
is Monty Python, you know.
Yeah, I could see it.
I can see it too. But I'm not upset about David Ogden Stiers. He does a
Mhm.
fantastic job. Linda Wolverton drew her inspiration for the screenplay not from Jean Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast from 1946, but from Little Women, admitting that there's a lot of Katharine Hepburn in the characterization of Belle. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't. I
I
guess
don't know where.
elegant.
Well, yeah, but I
But
still
other
don't
than that,
see it. Like I read that and I tried and I was like, no, don't see it.
Hepburn would not put up with that.
No.
No.
Okay, here are a list of people who were considered to play Beast. Tim Curry.
Well, he plays that. Oh, that big piano.
Yeah,
That is
he
not
ends
a
up
piano
he
in
ends
the
up
second
playing
movie.
he ends up playing the organ
There you
in
go, organ.
the Christmas movie, in the sequel.
He was
yeah.
good in that.
Oh yeah, Tim Curry is a great villain voice.
Yeah.
Like I don't
His
think he
voice
would have
is
done
great.
well as Beast, but he's a great villain voice. Mandy Patinkin, who played Inigo Montoya in The Princess Bride, was also considered. That's a laughable choice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
That's a Val Kilmer.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You can barely understand him.
Lawrence Fishburne, who is an amazing actor, was also
don't
considered to play Beast.
See that though.
I don't see him as Beast, but he is an amazing actor.
Yes.
I mean, I love Antoine Fisher, and Othello, and those are like
Yeah, Othello, badass. But I think he's in a way above doing the Beast, because the Beast is not that great.
Yeah. As a character, he's not the greatest one. Like, Lawrence does great with complex characters. Beast is not very complex.
No.
This was really funny, but Regis Philbin auditioned for the role of Beast. I don't know if he was ever considered, but the fact that he auditioned cracks me up.
What was he in?
Regis Philbin from Live with Regis and Kelly. You know, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Oh, I never knew his last name. I just only knew Regis and Kelly.
Isn't that the most insane thing ever? Oh my god. I imagine him in Beast's voice and I just die. It's fantastic.
Weird combination.
But yeah, like he auditioned. I don't think he was ever considered. But the fact that he thought he might get it cracks me up.
Sorry, Regis, you didn't get it.
Obviously,
but you did other things, you know.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, you did daytime TV. Good for you. Now, several characters in Beauty and the Beast are a homage to characters in the 9-time Academy Award-winning movie Gigi. Lumiere is a tribute to Maurice Chevalier's perfectly impersonated by Jerry Orbach. The main male protagonist's name in Gigi is Gaston, and he has a very similar air of confidence, you know, as Gaston.
Yeah, I loved Gigi as a kid. I did not get the connection.
Isn't that the Audrey Hepburn movie?
No. I don't think so.
No.
I watched it a lot when I was younger, and then I just can't find it anywhere, so I just haven't seen it.
Right. When Gigi rebuffs him in the 1958 film, it is similar to how Belle rebuffs Gaston, and both sing a self-righteous song of indignation. Gaston of Beauty and the Beast is not redeemed in the end, however, unlike Gigi's Gaston.
And that's probably why I liked it.
Beauty and the Beast itself is a take on the classic French novel La Belle et la Bête, though not the same source material, both being French themed. Disney's adaptation of Beauty and the Beast. I wrote that twice. Okay, never mind. Excuse me. I don't know why I wrote that twice, but I did.
You can cut it out.
Yeah, I'm not cutting it out.
Oh.
I'm looking at my notes. It's hard to remember stuff, okay? We all make mistakes. One last thing was that art director Brian McEntee color-keyed Belle so that she's the only person in her town who wears blue. This is symbolic of how different she is from everyone else around her. Later, she encounters the Beast, who is another misfit, who also wears blue and has blue eyes. It symbolizes good in the film, whereas red symbolizes evil. The color of Gaston's shirt is red, and Beast wears a red cape before he begins to soften. While he is beginning to soften, he wears purple, and at the end, he's wearing blue. A notable exception to this code is Gaston's blue eyes, making him the only Disney villain to have the eyes the same color as the protagonist. Some interesting trivia.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They could have totally made her different from everyone in other ways, but okay.
We'll go with the outfit.
We'll go with the color blue.
I think she's also the only brunette Disney princess that's like brown hair, not black.
Oh, what is that? Well, Sophia.
I'm talking about actual Disney princesses, not ones from Disney Junior.
They count her. I don't know. I never saw it before, so whatever.
Yeah, we should do a Disney princesses ranking. I'm just kidding. We're definitely going to do a Disney Prince ranking, which should be fun. We're going to measure them on attractiveness and personality and decide who's the best out of them all, which I already know. It's Philip.
Flynn is number 1 and then Philip's number 2. Just saying.
Maybe.
I usually go for like non-royalty That
Yeah.
was my favorite. Like Phoebus. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Phoebus. Or
Yeah.
like Esmeralda. Yeah. Or Meg. Yeah.
Right. Which next week we're actually going to be talking about The Hunchback of Notre Dame, so that's going to be fun. So I know you don't like it 100%, but is there anything about this movie you do like besides Cogsworth?
Luminaire.
Lumiere?
Yeah. I'm not good with French, so I
It's
butchered that name.
Luminosity.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Supposedly my last name is French, but, you know, I could not get into French, so I can't do the accent stuff, and so I don't know. Beauty and the Beast is just not for me.
I got good at the inflection. I took 3 years of French in high school, but I don't remember a word of it. I just remember how to inflect on certain things. I can say my ABCs and count to 50, and I can ask you how you are and what your name is, and that I don't speak French.
Oui, that's it.
Oui.
I don't even, yes.
Well, but if I had to pick favorites, the favorite song is Gaston. It's a great tune. I don't care. I love that song. I will sing along with it when I have Disney music playing in my car.
I like Tales of as Old as Time, probably because Miss Potts is singing it, and she's a doll.
Yeah. I love her.
I also like that. Is it the Amboire? I think it's the Amboire that has it's holding a bat or something like that, and it's hiding in like the wing, waiting for the mob to come.
Yeah.
That's a funny screenshot.
That reminds me of one of those adult jokes that fly over your head where she has moths in her bottom drawer.
Oh my.
And she's like, ooh. The way she reacts, it's like, oh wow, adult joke.
I like the small adult jokes that Disney puts in all of the movies.
Makes them so much more fun. We originally were going to have Hocus Pocus as our first podcast, and audio issues were just so bad on that one. So we might redo that one and then re-release it, but it would feel weird to do it not in October. But who cares?
Yeah, there's a lot of dirty jokes in that one, and it's hilarious.
It's fantastic.
I think there's more dirty jokes in that one than usual. Maybe because it's live action.
There's a lot of understated ones in this one. I mean, there's not a lot of them, but you know, there's a good handful, I'd say. But the moths out of the drawer and the promises you don't intend to keep seem to be the ones that pop out the most.
Yes.
But yeah, also another thing is the guy that played the insane asylum guy in this film. His voice was actually used for Frollo in Hunchback of Notre Dame, which we'll get into next week. But I think that's all we have about this one. So we have this ranking system where we can't use 5 stars and we can't use 2 thumbs up. So what we just, those are like trademarked or copyrighted or whatever. So instead we're going to do 5 mouse ears. And Nicole, 1 through 5, what's your decision and why? She's like -4.
I'm just gonna say 1 mouse ear because I can't stand the hypocrisy that is just throughout the whole movie. I don't like Belle because the hypocrisy is mainly about her choice and her choices in men. I don't like that the relationship that the Beast has with her and pretty much everyone in his household, because it's abusive and it's just it doesn't give a good a good relationship.
It's not
example.
healthy. It's not.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Like, he should be in jail for domestic violence and kidnapping, to be honest.
Oh, you're gonna upset the social justice warriors with that one.
Yeah, it's just like you can't throw furniture against the wall because you're upset.
That is fair.
That's abuse, and that's not love, and that's not okay. And the whole myth.
You change a man. Yeah.
Yes, that's not your responsibility, and you need to go away fast. Okay. So
well,
I give it a 1.
Okay, you give it a 1. I will give it a 3. And the reason I will give it a 3 is nostalgia factor, because it's one of the first Disney movies that I fell in love with as a kid. It's one of the ones I remember sitting and watching over and over and over again until my tape fell apart. The music, Alan Menken is a frickin' genius. He literally is one of the best music creators for Disney as far as their animated films are concerned. I love him. And honestly, I really like Belle, even though she's like, yeah, I just really like her as a princess. And it's probably because she's the reason that I am such a voracious reader now. So that's what I'm going with, is a 3. So a 4 out of 10 altogether.
Yeah, that's failing though.
It is.
Whoops.
But that's it for this week, and you can check us out. We do have a Facebook page. It is facebook.com/Disney Darlings Podcast, all one word. And I am on Twitter at South of Grace.
And I'm on Twitter at Pierman Nicole. And if you pretty much just type in Nicole Pierman, you'll find everything else, because I'm on a lot of social medias.
Yeah, she's and this is also going to be on a YouTube channel, which will be provided if you're not listening to it now, and it should be on iTunes. So hopefully we'll have iTunes and YouTube for you to listen to us on, and then and that's hopefully what you're listening to us on now. And our account is through Libsyn as far as the podcast. So we will see you next week, and thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.